our journey in the Choose Your Own Adventure novel series Lone Wolf. We are in book 5, and we have made it past the first part of that book, which is the escape from the capital of Barakish. We learned during our stay there, or during our escape there, that the book for the Grand Master of the Kai, basically everything that our monastery, basically all of the training and information and wisdom and all of that stuff for the monastery that we're a part of, is somewhere here in the land in something called the Tomb of the Majat, or something like that. We don't know where that is. And the reason I say that is because when we left off, we were flying on a giant bird across this lake, and we have a decision to make. We can head east to this town over here, or we can head to this pass over here. It's getting dark, and I think either option is going to allow us to evade capture by the flying, leathery creatures that are following us. There's nowhere on the map that tells me where the Tomb of the Majat is. So I'm thinking, head to the town over here, and maybe we can ask some questions and find out where that might be. So as much as it feels safer to run to the pass over here and hide in the wilderness, I am going to head east toward the town of Chula and hope that we can ask some questions and find out where this Tomb of the Majat is, because I would imagine the second part of this adventure is primarily about finding that book so we can become a Grandmaster. So, all of that being said, let's get started.
You can clearly see the main highway that links Chula to the capital. It crosses the desolate salt plain of Lake Inrahim by means of a causeway 30 feet high and is a useful landmark by which you can steer. Little stone houses with beaten earth roofs are grouped in small clusters along the highway, their numbers increasing as you draw nearer to the town. You are 5 miles from Chula when you notice a dark cloud hovering several hundred feet above one of the small villages.
Typical.
It is a cloud of Kron. They are moving to intercept you. Suddenly the Idikar squeals in pain, and a splash of feathers billows out from its wing. A Kron has closed in from behind. It is less than 100 yards distant. The Dracarim rider holsters an empty bronze crossbow and draws his black sword. His bolt has passed through the wing of your mount, and he prepares to strike as the Idikar loses height and speed.
Well, that sucks. All right, so we're about to have a sort of a combat, but not really. So he has a combat skill of 20. We have a 27, and that puts us at a 7 for our ratio. And he has a 28. But the reality is that the instructions tell us that we're going to get 1 round of combat, and the results of results of this 1 round of combat are going to determine what happened next. So ideally, we'll roll high. Ooh, it'd be nice if we could insta-kill this guy. Doesn't matter. We rolled a 6. So he takes 12 and we take 1. So we're down to 27 now. Well, let me leave that there for now. If he loses more endurance than us, then we do this one.
Your blow has opened a wide gash in both the Drakkar and his mount.
They say that does it.
The Kron spins uncontrollably, discarding its black-clad rider as it spirals earthwards. With the terrible cries of the doomed Drakkar fading below, you will to the south to avoid being caught between the 2 converging squadrons of Kron riders. The quick change of direction increases the distance between you and your pursuers, but the Idikar is badly wounded and you are close to despair. Your mount is losing so much blood that it could lapse into unconsciousness at any moment, dropping you like a stone onto Lake Inrahim. Suddenly, you spot something in the distance. It is a sight that renews your faith in miracles.
Okay.
Emerging from a bank of cloud on the skyline is a flying ship. It is a small craft, no bigger than an Unaram river barge, with 2 triangular sails swept back either side of its curving prow. In the fading twilight you can make out a long pennant that flutters from its mast. A faint humming reaches your ears. Your first reaction is disbelief. What you are seeing must be a trick of the light or some fiendish illusion created by the Dark Lords. However, as the ship floats nearer, your senses tell you that it is indeed quite real.
Well, unfortunately, we have not been given a crystal star pendant, which I imagine is going to make whatever is happening next much easier, but we don't have that, so off we go without it.
You recognize the flag that flies above a fortified platform in the center of the strange craft. It is the crescent and crystal star ensign of the Magicians' Guild of Torin, a city in northern Sommerlund. The skyship is commanded by a Somlanding wizard, one of your own countrymen. He is a blonde-haired young man dressed in long, dark blue robes. You are so stunned by the fateful appearance of the craft that you fail to notice the blood seeping from the Idakar's mouth. The creature is near to death. Suddenly, the great bird lets out a pitiful and agonizing caw. Its wings stiffen, and its head falls limply forward as the last flicker of life escapes from its torn body. You are pitched forward, and your stomach heaves as you plummet towards Lake Inrahim.
Okay, so we have a random chance thing. I'm hoping that 9 is the number that is disaster, and the other two have some form of we make it through. Let's find out what happens, I guess. I hate these totally random numbers. But since we did go through a page, we have what? 1, 2, 3 pages without combat. 1, 2, 3. So just guys got to keep up on that health. All right. 6. Oh, it doesn't look like we died.
The chill air whips past your face as you tumble towards Lake Inrahim. The Kron Riders, the skyship, and the distant horizon all melt into a kaleidoscope of shapes and images. You fear these will be the last things you will ever see. You have prepared yourself for death and feel calm and relaxed. Suddenly, you feel your body engulfed by a mass of sticky fibers. There is a terrific jolt, which leaves you breathless and stunned. Lose 2 endurance points.
They love to take those.
The impossible is happening. You are no longer falling but rising. You have been caught by a net of sticky strands like a fly in a web. You rise into the sky towards the flying ship as quickly as you fell. 3 bearded dwarves clad in bright, padded battle jerkins pull you aboard an outrigger that runs the length of the hull. There's no time to express your gratitude, for the small skyship is under attack from the Kron Riders. At the end of the outrigger, a dwarf is in hand-to-hand combat with a snarling drakkar. He is losing the battle. As you rush to help him, another of the evil warriors lands in the center of the craft, on top of the fortified platform.
He's gonna lose that fight, and we don't want a drakkar running around. So let's see if we can take this. Let's see if we can take this drakkar down real fast, and then help the other guys. Drakkar is strangling the dwarf. He catches sight of you, releases his grip and smashes his fist, sending. Oh, we were gonna save the dwarf. The whole point was to save the dwarf. Okay, you draw your weapon and attack. That's lame. All right. Well, he has a skill of 18. That puts us at a 9. And he only has 25 hit points, so we are going to smash this mofo. Let's do it. Due to the speed of your attack, do not deduct any of your own endurance points in the first round of combat. Well, maybe we'll kill him. No, a 1 is not going to kill him. That's lame. 8, but we don't have to deduct anything for the first round of combat, so maybe we'll get lucky on the second round. Come on, let's go. A 6, 14, and 1. Okay. There we go. Okay. All right, one more round of combat. Come on. 6, 14, and 1. Oops, 1. All right, so we are down to 26. We can empty out our values here. Oop. Oh, wrong button. Okay, there we go. All right, we turn to this.
The drakkar falls to his knees and makes a horrible rasping noise as he tries in vain to prise open his shattered death mask. Your blows have staved in his helm, and the buckled metal has fractured his skull. You lash out with your foot and kick him from the outrigger, sending him spiraling down to Lake Inrahim to join the dwarf he murdered. But the dwarf is neither dead nor hundreds of feet below.
Nice.
He hangs by his foot, unconscious, snagged in the netting below the outrigger boards.
So we saved him.
You grab
all.
the dwarf's leg and haul him to safety before continuing the fight. The platform looks empty, no heads are showing above its armored parapet, but you sense something is wrong. Instinctively, you leap from the outrigger onto the main hull, your weapon poised to strike.
Excellent.
Ducking beneath the boom sail, you clamber onto the platform in time to witness a desperate struggle. The blonde-haired magician is pinned to the deck, his left arm skewered by a spear. With a staff in his right hand, he is trying to fend off the dismounted Kron rider. The Drakkar senses your presence. He whirls round and draws a twisted black scimitar from its scabbard.
Okay, I already have the information loaded into the combat calculator here, so we are going to go ahead and start this fight. If we need to beat him in 3 rounds or less, so we have the best possible option here. Round number 1. Come on, a 2. All right, it's 9 and 3. Come on, roll better. 3, 10 and 2. I know I'm complaining about we're still doing crap tons of damage to this guy, but it's like, come on, roll higher. We have 10 possible numbers, and I keep rolling at the very low end of it. A 1. Dude. Every time I roll low, that's more damage that I take. All right, we're down to 19 because of bad rolling. Dice, man. These dice. But we did win it in 3 rounds or less, so whatever.
The Drakkar curses you with his dying breath, his cry fading as he falls from the platform. You rush to aid your wounded countryman, but the battle is not yet over. A Kron rider is swooping towards you, a crossbow leveled at your head. He fires and the bolt shoots towards your face. Then a shrill, metallic whine rings in your ears as the bolt miraculously ricochets away, deflected by an invisible shield.
All right, well, again, we don't have this crystal star pendant, so we're going to continue with this one.
You see the young magician lower his staff, a trace of a smile on his pain-racked face. Alas, I was too slow to shield myself, he says wryly, as you kneel at his side and free the spear that pins him to the floor. The wound is serious, and you hastily staunch the bleeding with strips of cloth from his dark blue robes. The wizard then introduces himself. I am Baindon, journeymaster to the Guild of the Crystal Star, he says, his voice weak and shaky. However, you need not introduce yourself, lone wolf, for only you would attract such company this far from home. He glances at the Kron riders swooping past the skyship on every side. Help me to my feet, we must escape before they drag us from the sky. You support the wizard as he grasps the ship's helm, a radiant crystal sphere with hundreds of glowing facets set upon a slim silver rod. No sooner has his hand closed around the crystal than there is a tremendous explosion.
Great.
The explosion is followed by a huge cloud of smoke, which engulfs a cabin perched on the rear deck. As the noise rumbles across the desolate salt plain, you hear the agonizing shriek of a wounded Kron. It spirals past the platform, a ragged hole rent in its broken wing. The smoke clears to reveal the grinning face of a dwarf at the cabin window.
Nice.
A smear of soot blackens his rosy cheeks and exaggerates the whiteness of his crooked teeth. He is holding a tube of smoking steel that you assume to be a magic staff, until you notice that each of the dwarf crew carry identical staves. As they point them at the swooping Kron, gouts of smoke and flame bellow from their tips. Suddenly you recognize the weapons and their wielders. They are dwarves from the mountain kingdom of Bor, armed with one of the inventions for which these ingenious artisans are justly famous throughout Magnamund. The Kron are terrified by the noise. They turn their leathery tails and fly away, their Drakkarim riders powerless to stop them. The primitive guns have claimed only one victim, but nevertheless, they have driven off the enemy and saved the skyship from disaster. Baindon steers the craft about, banking steeply until the ship faces the darkening peaks of the southern mountains and the distinct V-shaped cleft of the Dahir Pass.
Boy, it's almost as if we were destined to go through the Dahir Pass. And anyways, we have a random event happening, so I'm guessing the larger of the 2 numbers is better. So let's hope for a 3 or not 3 to 9. A 0. Oh. So I healed myself for 1, 2, 1, 2, and this will be 3. I'm trying to keep on top of my healing.
As you watch the Kron riders disappear into the darkening sky, a roll of thunder rumbles across the plain from Barakish. The sound is threatening and full of brooding menace, as if the city itself were cursing your escape. You turn away and focus your attention on Baindon, your unexpected rescuer. The makeshift bandage that binds his wound is soaked with blood, and he looks pale and weak.
Okay, well, we do have the skill of healing, so we'll go with this option and heal ourselves. Start.
Clasping your hands around Baindon's injured arm, you concentrate your Kai skill on healing the torn muscle and splintered bone. The warmth of your healing power numbs the pain and repairs the internal damage sufficiently to be able to remove the blood-soaked strips of cloth. The wound is still open, but you have saved the limb. "We'll help him now, Lone Wolf," shouts a strange voice. You are surprised by this bold claim and turn around to discover who has made it. Two dwarves clamber onto the platform and hurry to their young captain's side. One flicks open a red velvet satchel strapped to his barrel-like chest, and removes a glass vial and a clean linen bandage. They attend to the wound, and, as his strength returns, Baindon listens intently to your account of the terrifying events that have led up to this meeting. As you conclude your woeful tale, Baindon speaks, his voice full of grim determination. "The future of Sommerlund rests in our hands, Lone Wolf. We must stop Dark Lord Håkon from destroying the Book of the Magna Kai. I have heard tell of the tomb of the Majhan from the nomads of the Dry Main. They say it is a terrible place, a place of horror and death, for what little there is left to die there. It lies beyond the Dahir, near the oasis of Balofton. That is all I know, for the Majhan hid their tombs well and what few traces remained have long since disappeared beneath the shifting sands of the Dry Main." Your face conveys the disappointment you feel upon hearing these words. "However, all is not lost," says Baindon, undaunted. "There is a man who can guide us there. His name is Tipasa Ederauk, Tipasa the Wanderer. It is he who we must seek, for he is the only man who has ever entered the tomb of the Majhan and lived to tell the tale."
How convenient.
Baindon takes over the helm as his extraordinary ship, the Skyrider, as the dwarves call it, speeds through the gathering darkness towards the Dahir Pass. Visibility diminishes with each passing minute until, finally, you can see no further than the outriggers. You feel uneasy. If the Skyrider veers but a fraction off course, you will be smashed to pieces against the mountainside. "Do not worry, Lone Wolf," says Nalrim, the dwarf with the velvet satchel. "The captain will see us through." Baindon stands with his hand resting lightly on the glowing crystal, relaxed as if in a trance. His eyes are closed and a crackle of energy, like fine white lightning, traces an intricate pattern over his forehead and temples. The dwarf leads you to the cabin at the rear of the craft where the crew are excitedly recounting their victory over the Kron riders. They are seated about a table cluttered with plates of steaming food and jugs of foaming ale. The rich smell of spiced meat and boar brew fills your nostrils, reminding you of how ravenously hungry you are. You make short work of the meat and marrow placed before you. Restore 3 endurance points. However, you are unsure about accepting a jug of ale. Boar brew is so strong that in many cities of Magnamund it has been banned for fear of the havoc it can cause.
I have a feeling that declining their offer will not be received well.
The ale is thick and creamy, with a taste like malted apples. You lower the half-empty tankard and wipe away the froth from your lips with your sleeve.
Okay. We're going to have a random number event. If our endurance point total is, that doesn't apply, our endurance point total is above 25, so we can add 2, plus we do have the rank of savant, so we can add 5 total to our number, which means we should not have a bad time. Ooh. We have to be 7 or more. All right. Let's just roll. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, we're good. We're good. I think we're good.
The dwarves continue their meal, pausing only to light large hooded pipes. Through the bluish hue of the pipe smoke that clouds the low cabin roof, you notice that they are casting nervous glances at you, as if you might explode at any moment. After 5 minutes have passed, Nalrim raises his tankard and proclaims a toast, to Lone Wolf, a man among dwarves. The dwarves guffaw at Nalrim's rye toast and raise their tankards in a salute to your courage and fortitude. The boar brew has loosened their tongues, and they are eager to tell you of their past exploits. You learn that the dwarves were once the crew of a more conventional vessel, a merchantman that sailed the Tentarius of southern Magnamund. The Tentarius is a vast expanse of lakes and landlocked seas, which connect to form a continuous canal stretching nearly 3,000 miles. They were created, as was the Rimerift of Durinur, by a massive landslide. 3 years ago, the dwarves' former captain, a dwarf named Quan, lost his ship, cargo, and crew whilst gambling at cards. It seems the unfortunate captain was unaware of Baindon's true profession until it was far too late. As a result, Baindon became the dwarves' captain, and ever since they have adventured with him across the lands and skies of southern Magnamund. The Skyrider itself was given to Baindon by the magicians of Desi, in return for his help in defeating the Gagadoth, a monstrous creature that terrorized their land, over which their own sorcery could not prevail. The Skyrider was traveling from Desi on its way to Barakish when you appeared. The dwarves have overheard your talk with Baindon and are excited by the prospects of a new adventure. They seem undaunted by the deadly dangers that it will certainly involve.
Well, on that note, that seems like the perfect spot for us to end this particular session, leaving a nice little mystery for you to come back and watch next time. I really hope that you guys are enjoying the story. Actually, let me make sure before I forget to make sure I put that there. I really hope you guys are enjoying the story. Let me know what you think in the comments, and be sure to come back next time as we go hunting after the book for the Magna Kai, Grandmaster's book, whatever it's called, the book of the Magna Kai. Thanks for watching. Be sure to come back next time. Have a great day, guys.